So the second part of the tutorial of the first-person shooter, we're just going to try to actually add some code so we were actually firing the gun at something. So this is the point where it's worth actually now just adding some objects. Okay, so at the moment I've just got a prefab of a house and just a cube. So just this is where you're starting to set your scene up. Now, what I'm just going to come out of this game. And what I've done already is just typed some C# code. Now, what I'm going to do is put this, a copy of this, underneath where this video is, and also where the assets, actually just where this video is, because there aren't any extra assets for this one. So just I'm going to put this and try to explain what each part does just with the comments. So you can either type this code in yourself or just copy and paste this. If you do copy and paste, so what you would do is create a new C# script, and then you can just copy and paste this code. You do have to make sure though that you call it weapon as it's spelled here, or if you don't call it weapon, if you call it AK-47, something like that, then you just need to change this, where after it says class, you change that to whatever your C# file is. Now, once you've got this saved, you would need to go back to the hierarchy here, and on the AK-47, the first person shooter, you're actually putting it straight onto the actual gun itself. So you drag it just underneath where you had that weapon holder. So you should see, so you should see the code there. Okay, you have this thing here which says shoot point. What we're going to have to do, this shoot point is where you're going to actually fire from. So it will be the very end of the gun. So what you'd need to do is create an empty object, and maybe call this one shoot point, and then you're going to try to drag this. So shoot point is, just see where this is, gun is there. Okay, I'm just going to drag this. So if to just drag it, if I just click up here, okay, I should be able to now zoom in a bit. So you need to try to position it okay. So it is right just on the edge, so on the very end of the gun. Okay. So it'll end up like this. If you're not too sure, look at the FPS controller and look at the position, and then just change this position to roughly the same sort of place. So you should end up something like this. Okay, so you just drag it onto the gun. Okay, and then the code that you have on the gun, where it says weapon script, you just drag that onto that one there, and that connects that game object to the actual code. That should be okay. One thing you might find is you have the main camera that has something called an audio listener, and then you have the first person controller, so when the first person controller is walking, it also has an audio listener, and you might get an error. So what you could actually do from now on is untick that, so the main camera goes. So when you play the game, there you go. So you might get an error like this, but if you click on the main camera, untick it, that should go away, so you can clear and then press play, and you shouldn't now get any errors. You should be able to walk, okay, and not any errors. Now what should happen, if the code has worked, then what should happen when you fire, when you click the left mouse, which is the fire button, you should have this code. So we should get a little message to say fire, and it should also give you the name of the object that you fired towards. So if I come back to here, okay, so we're walking towards this cube. Okay, lovely. It's actually given the name of the object. If you look in the inspector, that's it there. So it actually is registered that we have fired at that object, which is the block. And so that, once you've done that, then when you have an enemy, whatever that enemy is, or a door or something like that that you're firing towards, you can then attach code onto that for something else to happen. The door opens, the door explodes, or whatever. So that is pretty much the first part of actually getting the gun to work, and then the next stage would be to actually get like a noise when the gun is fired, and for something to happen when the bullet actually hits the object.